All right. Switch account. Sound.
I'm muting us now.
Oh yeah.
You would have sound.
All right. There, we got sound. There, we got sound.
Oh yeah. Next to the end of the year episode, this is probably my favorite episode of the year.
After Mania?
Yeah.
Not before Mania?
That's a 1-2 combo.
All right. You ready there?
Just about.
All right.
You shared the link on El Face?
Yep.
Ready when you are.
All right.
Live from the landing strip in Houston, Texas, is the 460th edition of Houston Wrestling Radio. This is Abel.
Chris!
Hey!
Oh!
What's up, Chris?
What's up, bro?
Oh, man, it's good to see you.
Always good to see you.
Yeah. If you're joining us live, thank you. Log into your YouTube account. That way you could chat along with us in the live chat. I'll see it here in the old handy dandy smartphone, and you can feel free to, say hi, fact check, ask questions, talk shit, whatever. I'll see it and I'll try to involve you as best as I can in the show. If you're not watching this live, that's okay. You can still interact with us on facebook.com/Houston Wrestling Radio, or just drop a comment down below. And then make sure you hit the subscribe button, click on the bell notification thingy so that you know when we go online and when we're live and all that stuff, so that way you can join with us in future episodes. All right, Chris, my man.
We went through the black hole and came out alive.
Yes.
Wrestling Christmas.
Wrestling Christmas.
WrestleMania weekend.
Yes, sir.
So for the sake of the memory of our friend Calvin Dar, let's go in chronological order. Let's start with Friday. What was the feeling you had, whether it was watching it live on Friday or hearing about it over the weekend? Rey Mysterio hurt again.
Of course I was disappointed, but also it's not like it was the match that I'm looking forward to. Like, I don't want to say Rey Mysterio is irrelevant, but he's not relevant, if that makes sense. He's not irrelevant, but he's not relevant. I mean, I don't know a better way of putting that. Like, oh, Rey Mysterio's not on the card. Oh, okay. So it's not like I'm tuning into WrestleMania to watch Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, in 2025, already.
Right.
God, I felt bad though. You know, because you work all year for this moment.
Mm-hmm.
You work all year for this weekend. You work all year for the attention. And sure, on this side of the scale, Rey Mysterio, he's in between. But on the other end, from the Gulf of America, a Grande Americano,
Mm-hmm.
he's getting attention. He's getting
Right.
buzz.
Yeah.
He's getting hate.
Yeah.
Sometimes for things that are out of his control because he's not the one making the decision. It was something that I wanted to see.
Fair.
What I don't want to see now is, and we've done this a couple of times on the show, I don't want to see Ray wrestle anymore. That's it. His swan song was the SmackDown before WrestleMania in the 6-man tag. That's it.
His swan song should have been him versus Dom.
No. Dom should have put him out. Should
Yeah.
have matched him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And look at Dom now. You know, Dom's doing so well. But that's kind of getting ahead of ourselves.
Well, we'll get there. Saturday morning,
Mm-hmm.
NXT stood and delivered.
Yes.
Give me a highlight from stand and deliver.
Stephanie back here.
All right, Arnold.
Goddamn. Stephanie back here. Whew. She's all that and a bag of chips and a bowl of Cheetos and popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's the truth. It's not just the Psylocke outfit and the ass. It's not just that. She's the truth when it comes to, you know, being a good fucking wrestler. I am 100% on board. I'm on the Stephanie back here train.
There's not a lot of things that she does that differentiates her in the ring from half of that NXT roster, if not most of that NXT roster.
Really?
But there's a je ne sais quoi about her. And I'm not talking physical. It's almost like she effortlessly oozes charisma.
Mm.
And there's people in the NXT locker room and there's people in the main roster locker room that would kill to have that ability.
Okay.
And it feels like this feels like Pink Ranger, Kelly Kapowski, Topanga in our youth. Like, I just have a mad crush on this woman. And I think part of it is because, well, if Arnold was here, he'd be like, man, look at them booty pictures on fucking Instagram or whatever. But there's interviews with her, there's segments with her that just feel so genuine.
Yeah.
That it's her. We had the conversation about Evans, Javon Evans. He's a guy that's one of us that we want to root for.
Right.
If this was an all-female episode of HWR, they probably have the same opinion of that curve.
Okay.
That she comes across off the clock as one of us that we root for. And it just helps that she's all curves, no breaks.
All curves, no breaks.
Yeah. The opening match set the tone.
Okay.
I like Ricky Saints and Ethan Page.
Yes.
It was smooth. It wasn't like a main event worthy, but at the same time, you want to start the bar consistent. And,
right.
And I enjoyed their match a lot.
Yeah, they had a really good match.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any bad matches on Stand and Deliver. I think they were all solid.
The only two matches I didn't see.
Okay.
In the moment, lifetime, I was doing adult stuff pretty much all day on Saturday.
Okay.
But
adult stuff or adult stuff?
God.
Oh.
But then I remembered WWE likes to spoil itself.
Right.
And so during night one of WrestleMania, I'm getting all these. I wasn't even on the book.
Yeah.
All day on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I got spoiled on the two title matches. So I'm like, well,
yeah.
Guess I don't need to watch those immediately.
Mm.
And I tried to make time to go back and watch them. And
you didn't have the time.
I watched the 4-way, but I didn't watch Femi and Trick and Javon.
Oh, you missed a gem.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the match of the night for you.
I think the ladder match with the girls, the one that Soruka won, might have been the match of the night.
That was fucking fun.
It was very fun. I think that they didn't do what you were afraid that they were going to do, which is, it's a ladder match with the girls, so they're gonna, be soft with the ladder. I don't think that they did that, and I remember even thinking that while I was watching the match, like, oh shit, they're going for it. They're really doing the Impact stuff that Chris was complaining about.
Yeah.
So I was very happy with that. I'm okay with the finish. I wanted Soruka to win, and she did win. But the thing that I didn't like about the finish was just the timing of it. I think Sol was trying to do too much, trying to have a oh my god moment with she's on the top of the ladder but upside down on the wrong side, flip over, flip to the other side, do the flipping stunner, go down, come back up. Like, it was too much. It was too much. Like, she was trying to create a moment, and like it was all like, since she was trying to be careful, rightfully so. She needed to be careful in that because she was trying to do some crazy shit. It was almost slowed down a half a step just in that ending sequence.
Yeah.
Other than that, oh man, that match was really good. Yeah, I would say match of the week contender.
Really?
Okay. Match of the week contender. But so was Trick Willie versus Oba Femi versus your boy Bouncy. Javon Evans, man, he's good too. I'm not surprised that they kept it on Oba, but I was kind of hoping maybe they would swerve us and shock us and give it to Javon Evans, right?
Javon, really?
Yeah, I was ready for it. I was ready for him winning that match in particular, just because of the story of the match. He didn't, but I wanted him to. Oba won. It's like, okay, this is a safe bet. I get it. Fine, whatever.
There were no wrong answers when we were previewing this match.
You're right.
A few weekends ago.
You're right.
I can get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I would say both of those matches are contenders for match of the week.
if there isn't anything else that you want to specifically talk about, Stand and Deliver takeover, Stand and Deliver, I'll end it on this note. The only real swerve of the weekend lost its meaning at the end of the weekend, and that was
what?
That was Stacks turning on the Dawn.
Why do you think that was lost?
Because there were 4 more in the weekend.
Oh, okay.
If you're gonna have one person do it, if its story makes sense or the story swerves it, cool. But if you're doing it 3 or 4 times over the weekend, it's gonna lose impact by the 3rd or 4th time. And
okay.
I'm glad that I saw that one first in the moment to appreciate it for what it was then. Because now it's like, wow, that's just another one of the case of several that happened. And lumping them all together, it's like, oh, Wrestlemania weekend was a weekend of turns, betrayals,
Yeah.
Depending on who you are, NXT might not count for you. But if you watch everything, or if everything gets intertwined at some point that comes back around, you're going to notice it.
Okay. I mean, I'm not too emotionally invested in the Dawn and Stacks.
I wasn't either, but they were growing on me.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't watching NXT, to be honest. I wasn't watching NXT a whole lot, right? So maybe that's why I'm not emotionally invested. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's why I didn't care.
Robert Medlin.
Oh, Robert's in the live chat?
Even though I'm a fan of both, Stephanie had made a bigger impression on me than Julia.
Yeah. I like Julia too. Yeah, what's up, Medlin? I'm resetting the live chat here because I didn't see his thing come in. Oh, there it is. I had to just close and reopen the app. All right. Thanks, Robert. Thanks for joining us today.
Night 1 of WrestleMania.
Night 1.
Saturday.
I have a hot take.
Go for it.
If night 2 kept up the consistency of night 1, this would be easily within the top 10 WrestleManias of all time, maybe even the top 5. If night 2 kept up the consistency of night 1. If night 2 was as good as night 1.
Wow. You sure you don't have that backwards?
Nope.
Night 1 was the better WrestleMania night for you.
Yeah.
I completely disagree.
Really? I really like night 1 a lot.
For me in particular, I don't think night 1 knocked my socks off the way night 2 did. I think I called almost every single thing in night 1 that happened. And there wasn't anything that was like, oh, that's ingenious. Maybe, I'll take it back.
I'm about to say,
Phoenix replacing Rey Mysterio against El
Okay.
Grande Americano.
Yeah.
Wholesome might not be the right word because it's Grande Americano.
right.
But fucking Gable can get it. That reverse 450,
Yeah.
Phoenix felt like he slowed down a little bit. You know, that
Right.
typical AEW boom, 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 boom. It
Right.
wasn't that in this match. Happy for Phoenix to wrestle in front of that big of a crowd and for that big of a crowd to actually give him a response.
Right.
That they knew who he was, which meant even if AEW didn't exist, his tenure in AAA, which we'll get to that in a second. Now, like, he's in front of this big ass audience around the
Yeah.
world, and he's getting the reactions, and just seeing him have his moment a month and a half in.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. That might have other than the main event, that might have been my favorite match of the night, just because
Really?
I didn't know what to expect from it.
Okay.
Because I sat here with my dinner expecting it to be quarter pounder with cheese, and instead I got like barbecue chicken ribs, barbecue ribs. And so you're focused on one thing, you get something else, you don't know what you're gonna get.
Right.
And so the surprise of Phoenix being added to that match, it did what it was supposed to do. I was expecting Americano to win, further the plot, have more
Right.
Mexicans mad at him,
Right.
and Phoenix showed out. So other than the main event, that was mine.
Okay.
I want to hear more about your opinion of night 1, because it was a consensus for the most part.
Yeah.
From people online and from our groups, that if you swap the main event from night 1 and night 2, if you swap the main events,
Yeah.
night 2 would have been an all-timer. Top 5.
No, that wasn't my opinion. My opinion was that they should have been swapped to make WrestleMania overall better.
Mm-hmm.
But remember what I said. In my mind, my night 1 main event, that should have been swapped as well.
Yeah, we want
So the opener of WrestleMania night 1, Gunther versus Jay, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had the feel-good moment of Jay beating Gunther and eating for 2 hours, right? That should have been the main event of night 1, and then after watching the main event of night 2, that should have been the main event of night 2.
Wow.
Yes,
Really?
yes, because that was the send everybody home happy, ecstatic. There's hope on the horizon, the optimism. Oh wow, the guy that we really wanted to win. Give me that feel good fucking moment to end the chapter of the WrestleMania season, right? That would have been the best feel good moment. Was I 100% on board with Jay? No. Was I 100% on board with Gunther losing the title? No. I said that on our preview, episode, that like I don't know if this is really for either one of them, but they had the most straightforward. Babyface is going to win. Babyface is going to be over, and Babyface is going to celebrate with the crowd, right? So you end that for the end of everything. So while the swerve was really fucking good for the end of what really was the night 1 episode of the triple threat, I loved that swerve with Heyman. I loved it, and the possibilities are endless. That could have opened the show.
Wow.
That could have opened the show to get people talking. Wait, what happened? This is how we're starting? What the fuck? Heyman turned on whatever, And then all those people that were doing memes was like, the end of night 2 is going to have the Heyman bunch with basically The Rock and Cena aligning with Heyman, and oh my God, people could have been talking about that all the way through WrestleMania because of that. And remember, it was especially with Punk losing, I don't think that this counts as Punk's WrestleMania main event that he was owed, right? I mean, it counts because it really was, but it really wasn't. It was the end of night 1, not for a title, a grudge match. And you lost as well, right? So, no, open the show with that. Open the show with that and get rid of that whole subplot storyline of, Punk's never had his WrestleMania main event, right? Push that off to next year, right? Because he's going to continue feuding with Seth after this, Seth and Heyman. It's a good fucking story that was created at Mania, not something to end Mania. Yeah. But, I digress. It was on the end of night 1. I think it should have opened night 1.
So you're a firm believer that you have to end WrestleMania on a high, on a happy ending.
I think so.
Interesting. You're the first person that I've heard their opinion of Mania to say that.
Okay.
The story between Roman and Seth.
Dude, I'm sorry. If you spent $10,000, don't you want to go home happy? Do you want to go home pissed off?
Is it one of the top 3? Is it one of the top 5 movies of all time? The box office wise, not a happy ending.
Talking about Titanic?
Infinity War.
Yeah, but Infinity War wasn't the end. The Infinity War was the end of night 1. Endgame was the end of night 2.
But still, you had a night where they
That's what I'm saying. The end of night 2 is Endgame, where you send people home happy. If you spent $10,000 to go to WrestleMania in Vegas, night 1, night 2, and you end on like booze, no, you want to end on something that's guaranteed to make everybody happy.
Half that crowd was cheering for Cena when he won.
True, but he's still a heel.
Yeah, but it's Mania. It's backwards. It's the upside down, which throws a wrench into all kinds of things.
All right, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Say your piece.
I think the placement of the card was warranted due to the time that the story had. Jay had already fought Gunther once. I'm not sure how much appeal there was for Jay to wrestle Gunther again, even after winning the Rumble. Seth and Roman is at least 10 years. Mm-hmm. Seth and Punk has been ever since Punk returned from WWE. Right. Punk and Roman is from Survivor Series. And with Heyman caught in the middle, there was a lot more sides on that meal as opposed to the meat that was on Jay and Gunther. Okay. Which was why I think they placed it right. Because if you can't be last, you got to be first. Get everybody's attention while it's hot. Right. The only thing I did notice was that night 1, I don't know if the crowd wasn't mic'd or the crowd just wasn't as fervent as Sunday. Because regardless of the size of the stadium, it's wide as well as tall. So the noise goes up and it never really comes back down. Okay. So if you're not miking anywhere like on the top of the stage lighting or miking the crowd around ringside, you don't really get the audio of the crowd losing their shit. Okay. And then the other issue, since you mentioned it, I think we mentioned this last episode. I have not spent fucking $10,000 on Mania. I'm not spending $1,000 on Mania. I'm barely trying to spend $100 on Mania. Even if it's just one night.
Inflation, bro.
You saw the prices for Raw? Raw's coming in July.
I didn't see them.
The cheapest seat, $70. Before tax. And if it's anything like Saturday night's main event was in San Antonio, that $70 is just for like the very last row in the nosebleeds for like 6 sections. And then the next seat is $85, and that's the second to last row. And then it just, we're getting priced out, bro.
Yeah.
hardcore.
Yeah.
You know, it's under TKO. UFC does similar things. Their cheapest ticket for UFC is $100, and that was when I went for UFC 136, and that was easily 10 years ago, if not more.
Yeah.
15 years ago, if not more, because they're like the 300s now, I think.
Yeah.
And the shit's just getting more expensive. I mean, that's a business. You know, you're trying to get all the money you can from as many avenues as you can. So I did surprise me a little bit where I was looking at the ring like, fuck, Circle K has turnbuckle advertising money?
Yeah.
The General?
Yeah.
The General's got turnbuckle advertising money? God damn, where did all this come from?
Yeah.
So, back in hand, Jay and Gunther, solid match. I wasn't the biggest fan of the finish. That's the second time that Gunther has lost a championship to his own finisher. He didn't try to fight. He's bigger than Jay. I would assume he's stronger than Jay. I would have thought he would have made more of an effort to fight out of the hold.
Right.
Instead of just like insta-tapping.
Yeah.
And 2 years in a
I
row.
don't think he insta-tapped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott or Travis, one of them made the case of like, if it was an actual sport, if you're already in the move, why are you going to spend 30 seconds in pain when you can just tap out? It's like, okay, today he beat me. Now I got to find a way to counter that for next time.
Okay.
So hearing that kind of made a little bit of sense.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I was like, oh man, not like that. Like if Jay would have hit him with the spear, the splash, or like 4 splashes like he did, fine, cool. 1, 2, 3. Gunther kicks out after 3.
Yeah.
You know, or a quick roll up or
Jay
something.
isn't known for being a submission.
How many matches has he beaten someone with a submission?
Probably not at all.
None.
Right.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that story was just a little bit weird.
Although, and I might be getting ahead of myself, I love what it did for Gunther. I love.
Go for it.
I mean, I don't want to jump too far.
Okay.
ahead, do we?
Well, hold on to it.
Okay, I'll hold on to it. So I think in retrospect, in hindsight, it's justified.
Got you.
Robert Medlin says, "Man, the seats that used to be $70 are twice as much now."
That's
Yeah.
fucking ridiculous. And the higher those regular prices are, extra fees, you multiply that.
Bro, I have never been to an NFL game. Why? Seats are too goddamn expensive.
Yeah.
Wrestling used to be the nice alternative where the seats are actually kind of affordable and you could actually go. But nowadays, I don't think so. I think they're trying to get to where the NFL is. I could go to an Astros game and get the nosebleeds, and I'll probably be okay. But hell, even the Rockets games, sometimes they're a little bit too much, right? So it's been like NFL, NBA, MLB, and then wrestling.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. That means that more people could get into it and like it. But I guess right now that wrestling is so fucking hot, they're up in those prices.
And that's the other thing that I try to ration with myself as far as explaining why it's so high. Because I remember the tickets being expensive when the Killer Bees were running shop. And
Oh, for the Stros.
Yeah, and then I remember the tickets being expensive before the seasons after once we started winning World Series. In between those seasons at Minute Maid or Enron, the nosebleed ticket was only $5.
Yeah.
Now that they're spending money on players, now that the rosters balloon, the payrolls balloon,
Yeah, those
the cheapest seats are $15.
Mm.
It's really not a lot in hindsight, but you multiply that by 162.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know that kind of math, you multiply. That's 3 times the price what the ticket normally was, which is basically what wrestling is now. You know, look at all the heavy hitters that are on their roster now.
Yeah.
John Cena, Randy Orton, they just signed Penta, they just signed Phoenix, they just brought Aleister Black, they just got Rusev back.
Jade.
Jade. Kevin Owens still has a max deal. Sami Zayn still has a max deal. Cody. Seth,
They paid out the bills for Cody.
Yeah, Seth, Roman. Everyone that you think is a top star right now is not cheap. And for that, tickets have to be somewhere near what they are. But then that goes into other issues as far as fees and seats and the way things are laid out and those $10,000 ringside seats or $20,000 ringside seats per night just to get hit by an ATV.
Robert says, I remember wanting to go to a Texans versus Cowboys preseason game. Cheapest seats were $200. God damn, preseason.
against the Cowboys.
Ugh.
If you want to see that many toilets, you can walk to Home Depot for free.
I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead. I derailed us again.
Was Charlotte sandbagging?
No, I think she's just that tall and heavy.
Okay, that's a good case.
You know, like
Do you think
The
the match
bigger-
worked for you?
no, the match wasn't terrible, and I don't think that there was sandbagging involved. I mean, maybe there was, and I just don't know any better. But it wasn't the highlight of the night, right? It was like, all right, what I expected it to be, you know, just meh. But I'm happy. I'm knocking stuff over. I'm happy that
Tit for tat.
yeah, Tiff retained. I'm happy that Tiff retained that. I love Tiff's entrance coming out of the little Barbie box.
Oh man.
Oh, that was great.
The only thing that was missing is for a stint in NXT, her Titantron her name was in the Barbie font.
Right, it
It
was.
was like the skyline and the
It
mansions
was.
in the back of
It
it.
was.
If they said on, for anyone that did catch this, they said on commentary that the entrance was sponsored by Mattel.
Oh,
So they should have just gone full board and had her
Yeah.
font, you know.
yeah.
I'm glad she retained. I'm glad that the people that retained did, because a lot of belts were on the line, and I was like, man, you have your opinion that WrestleMania has to end happy. There's a lot of opinion that WrestleMania is like a hard reset into the next year
Right.
of what we're watching on television. So a lot of belts normally change hands,
Yeah.
and I'm surprised how many didn't.
Okay.
Because you
fair.
could have made an
Fair.
argument for any of those champions that you could have had them lose, get them on the come up, or they won't lose any momentum.
All the more reason to have Jay versus Gunther in night 2. All the more reason.
Is part of the reason because Jay's a Rumble winner?
Yes, that's another part of the reason too.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're devaluing Royal Rumble, which is traditionally you earn a main event spot at WrestleMania for the title. That's what you win at Rumble. Jay didn't win that. Jay earned a title shot at WrestleMania. That's
If
it.
we're going to talk about devaluing, why do we still have 2 world titles? Let's go all the way down
But,
that
but
slope.
that's a devaluation that's been there for 15 years.
And then they unified it.
All right, WrestleMania 32,
That's 38.
38.
And it lasted how long?
What are we at? 41?
41. There's no poster on here because I didn't go because I don't shit gold bars.
Because you're not eating enough gold. You poor.
Not 4, yeah. Let's get to the main event.
Okay.
Talk about the main event.
Goddamn.
Arnold said cinema.
Yeah.
You agree?
I don't know if I agree with the cinema part, but I do agree with good fucking wrestling part. I'm gonna have an opinion here about something a little bit later. Well, okay, actually, let me get into this now. This match ended night 1. According to my math, this match should have started night 1. End night 1 is Cena's match. This is where I thought the betrayal was appropriate. Of course, we had 2 big betrayals, right? So, you know, this betrayal being one of those.
Technically 2 of them.
Yeah, technically 2. You're right. But I think it could have served a little bit better place on the card for the go home happy and the traditional wrestling stuff with the Royal Rumble and all that. But all that aside, God fucking damn it. You ever have that one ex? And you said, I'm never going to get with them ever again. And then they call you up one day. And they're a little bit drunk.
You better
You're a little bit lonely.
You better hope Randy's still asleep.
This is a fictional scenario, okay?
Oh no, you had exes, so this is an actual scenario.
But you're like, maybe it wasn't that bad. You know what? Maybe the time, yeah. That's how I am with CM Punk right now.
Is that why you're not wearing a CM Punk shirt today?
Yeah. I mean,
You want me to get one from the closet for you?
No. Because like, I really love CM Punk. I really did. It was a really good relationship that we had for a long time.
You did.
We did. And then CM Punk and AEW happened. And it wasn't like how it was before. You're like, we might need to de-escalate this relationship. We might need to roll it back. You're not the same guy that you used to be, man. And like, and like you say you're working with children, but you're one of those children, and you're not like you're mad because of that. You're being unprofessional. You're saying everyone else is unprofessional. You're being unprofessional. You're just gonna take your ball and go home. And again, maybe you know what? Maybe you weren't right. Maybe you were wrong the first time. We thought you were right. Maybe the other people were right, saying that you were a piece of shit and a toxic person in the locker room. And I didn't believe it back then, but maybe I believe it now. And I fucking broke up with CM Punk. I broke up with CM Punk like 2 years ago.
Before Survivor Series.
I think it was AEW Double or Nothing. I think it was Double or Nothing.
When you were in Vegas?
Him versus Hangman.
Oh.
That's when I broke up with him. That's when I started breaking up with him. All right, I really broke up with him.
You opened a new checking account.
I really
got the PO box.
Yeah, I signed the papers.
You were ready.
I really signed papers when he was leaving AEW. That's when I really signed the papers, the divorce papers with Punk. Man, fuck. And now CM Punk's moved on, has a new boo. And they're doing so much better. And you're like, oh well, good for them, but still, fuck them. Don't worry, the bloom will fall off the rose there. You'll see. And then CM Punk called me up on night 1 of WrestleMania. He called me up and he's like, hey, baby.
My addiction is still competition.
Do you remember me? I got this match. I know you're going to like it. And I'm like, oh, please don't do this. Don't do this. No, shh, just let it happen.
Don't give me hope.
Let it happen.
You're biting your lip.
Oh, God damn it, punkers! I can't resist when you end up on a vice like that. I can't resist. And I went and I just fucking blew that fucking load all over WrestleMania night 1. And you know what? I don't think I regret it.
I have to ask. Esther wasn't an ex, but every once in a while she would come around.
Mm-hmm.
Had to break out the umbrella.
Okay.
I've been waiting for this all day.
Oh shit.
Once she whispered that, it was over.
It was over.
Mm-hmm. But you, my friend, were hosting a watch party. So to ask this question in a language you would understand.
Okay, here we go.
Whose keys were in the fish?
It was Phil Brooks' keys, bruh. Man, Phil and Roman and Colby. Joe, Colby, and Phil. Oh my God. No, I really liked that match, man. It was a good match. It was, it wasn't exactly what you would say is NXT stand to deliver caliber flippy dippy indie-rific, classic, right? We use the word classic way too much nowadays too. It was more of a WWE style sports entertainment, but the story was so fucking good. And I lost myself in the match. I didn't know who was going to win. I was just fucking sports entertained. I was very sports entertained in this match. And when we just started getting into the Heyman stuff and the double betrayal, I thought it was brilliant. You said that you think you clocked this. I did not clock this. I did not. Like, okay, Heyman turning on Punk, okay, maybe I get it, siding with Roman. But turning on Roman also 2 backstabs to side with Seth? What? I was not predicting that. Robert Bennett says, damn, Punk, I wish I knew how to quit you. Yeah.
And the worst part is he doesn't do drugs, so he wouldn't know either.
Goddamn. Yes, very, 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 very good match with very good storytelling.
It wasn't your typical 3-way in the sense of it was tight. Everyone was involved almost in the entire match.
Yeah.
The triple threat itself was so good that I was able to forget the inevitable. Because every Roman match, it's like 85% filler, and then the 15% at the end is the meat. And Paul turning on Punk was great.
Yeah.
If I would pick a nit, is I would have waited a few more minutes to do it to Roman, because the ref's not doing fucking nothing.
Right. It's a triple threat.
Yeah, but still, the 3 men are involved in the match. They're the headliner.
Right.
At least make an effort to kick Paul Heyman out. And then, yeah, you know what? Paul Heyman slinks out or sludges out or rolls out.
Yeah.
And then a few minutes later, Roman's about to have his moment with the chair, and he's about to do it, and here comes Paul back in to do it.
Yeah.
To do the turn.
Yeah.
The fact that he was still in the ring after Punk was already blue balled,
Yeah.
and he was already preparing himself in position to do it to Roman, it was too obvious. And
Really?
that's when I disengaged a bit.
Okay.
You know, but what brought me back around was me realizing Roman can't quit Seth either. Because all these years later, he's still hung up on the initial Shield turn. And the fact that Sammy turned on him that way also.
Yeah.
And now the fact that Roman had the opportunity, and instead of just going for a victory, he wanted vengeance. It's consuming him.
Yeah.
And
does it say death, taxes, and Seth Rollins hitting Roman Reigns in the back with the steel chair?
Yeah.
Right.
Other than that, that was my match of the night.
Fair. Match of the night, match of the week contender.
Most definitely. Anything else from Saturday you want to mention? Because there's half of that card that we haven't really focused on.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what else happened.
Naomi and Jade.
Naomi and Jade. That was decent.
War Raiders.
Yeah, War Raiders. That was a fun match. Raiders and New Day. New Day winning. Yeah, that was fun. I don't think that there was any bad matches or piss breaks, to be honest. Well, Logan versus AJ.
That's not 2.
That was night 2? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Let's get into night 2.
Let's get into night 2.
I thought night 2 was far surpassed night 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
do you want to talk about the opener of night 1?
I like the fact that there's people that are upset that Io retained. Io definitely belonged in this match. I feel like she was the glue that kept the match together. And to Arnold's credit, I do want to see Rhea versus Bianca next year.
Okay.
Main event either night
for
a title. Because they have something there, the two of them. And Io did a good job of navigating through the two of them to create a space for her to belong in the match.
Yeah.
That spot near the end where she tried to do the poison Rana and Rhea pulled her back and she ate that steel post.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that before.
Yeah.
Or especially not on a woman.
Yeah. I think Cesaro did it once by accident and he lost a tooth.
Yeah. That was rad. I like the finish.
Yeah. This is something that I could say both about Rhea and about Charlotte. And it really is more an indictment on the rest of the women's division. When you have women like Rhea, Charlotte, to a certain extent Jade and Nia, right? You have the big girls out there, right? Something that can happen is that the other normal, quote unquote, normal sized women, because they're all athletes, they're all bigger than me probably. They all don't know how to work them. And I think that's something in women's wrestling in current state that can be an area of improvement. Because we've had for years, decades even, the Giants. And the regular sized dudes have to figure out how to work a good match with the Giant. Bret Hart versus Diesel. They had a couple of stinkers, but they also had a couple of really good ones.
They figured out the bumps in the road.
They figured it out, right? Yeah. Exactly. Shawn and Razor. Razor isn't that big, but he was still a little bit bigger, way bigger than Shawn. And they had fucking classic at WrestleMania 10 with the first ever ladder match. Well, first ever WWE ladder match.
Bret and Yoko.
Bret and Yoko.
Yeah. Somehow that gelled.
Yeah. Every time that they did it, because they wrestled multiple times, you know. Ray versus fucking Big Show, right? Mark Henry versus whoever. Like you have your big guys. Kane was always really good at working with smaller guys, right? He
knew how to let them bounce off him,
right? Yeah. So it's that the men had figured out decades ago, if you're a big guy, how to wrestle a smaller guy and make a smaller guy look good, and how a smaller guy can wrestle a big guy and still look competent and look like a threat. And I don't think the women, generally speaking, in wrestling today in WWE have figured that out quite yet. And that's why I said that I don't think that Stratton and Charlotte was a sandbag situation. And I think maybe it was that Tiffany's never wrestled somebody as big as Charlotte. Perhaps. I could be wrong, as there's a lot of people on the internet that say that I'm wrong. A lot of people are like, oh, they were sandbagging each other, they were angry at each other, and they yelled at each other and cussed each other out at the end of the match backstage. Like, oh, okay, fine. I'm not sure. You have a titch of that here with Io and Rhea, right? And Bianca kind of in the middle, because Io is a smaller competitor, and I would say Bianca is quote unquote normal, and then Rhea is large, right? So while there's that problem, I don't think that problem manifested itself in this match.
Yeah, it's easier to hide it with the third person then.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I think they did a good job.
Sex aside.
What's up, Jessica?
Sex aside.
What's up, Arnold?
God damn. Sex aside, do you put the onus on the larger wrestler?
Yeah.
To learn to adapt to the smaller wrestlers because there's so few of them? Mm-hmm. Or do you put the onus on the smaller wrestlers to learn for the off chance that you're slotted against a Nia, a Jade, a Rhea, Lash Legend?
Yeah. If you are a larger wrestler, especially in the women's division in this day and age, a big part of the onus is on you because you are the minority. Every match that you're going to have is probably going to be with somebody smaller than you, right? That being said, I'm not completely absolving the smaller girls, especially if you're coming from Stardom and Joshi and things like that, right? Because you might be a regular sized fish in a regular sized pond and everyone else is regular size there with you. But if you want to make it to the WWE, where you got to start fighting the Rheas and the Charlottes and the Jades and the Nias of the world, well, you better figure out how to do those kind of matches to make those matches look good. Because if you want to main event fucking WrestleMania, Tiffy time, you need to learn how to pick up a big bitch like Charlotte.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So, yeah, it's good. It's a little bit on both, I would say. Yeah. Arnold is contradicting me a little bit. Thank you, Arnold. He says Tiff is Wrestlemania, and that didn't look that bad. He says Charlotte was being petty. Match ended up being decent even after all of that. Zelina versus Chelsea is a perfect good example of like Shawn versus Razor.
Mhm.
Yeah. Jessica says equal blame here. Big people need to learn how to pull a punch, but the smaller ones need to learn how to step up.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Dirty Dom cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Before we move away from this
Okay.
women's three-way. Match of the night from night 2. Match of the night. Match of the week contender.
I have it on the list.
Mm-hmm.
There's another match that I feel from night 2 was on the match of the week candidacy, and it's Breaker, Penta, Dominic, Balor.
Okay.
That was another example of a good blend of both story between Penta and Dom. Between Dom and Finn, and the fucking wrestling in the ring.
It was a good wrestling.
Fucking Braun, dude. How many times does Carlito have to die?
He's still selling it. Oh, what was it? Was it Monday or Friday where he was like, I go to the doctor?
Yeah.
I go to the doctor.
Yikes.
That's funny.
There's not a lot I can say to that other than as much as we agreed that there isn't a bad winner in that match, I think the right person won.
Fair.
And we had the conversation on our last episode of how the overseas audience can somehow turn a public's opinion.
Okay.
You know, ever since we came back overseas, one of the casualties of the blip is Bianca Belair was actually getting heel reactions on
Yeah.
television and in that WrestleMania crowd.
Yeah.
Are you, not that it's happened because we still have some episodes to talk about, are you ready to see Dirty Dom the anti-hero? Because that crowd on Sunday ate him up in 1 second.
Yes. I don't know, man. He's so fucking goofy, but he's an ass, but he's kind of funny.
He's doing interviews sipping on Capri Suns, bro.
He's that friend that you have that is an asshole, and you know he's an asshole, but he's still your friend. Dominic is you, basically. You know, like nobody likes him, but everyone loves him because he's a dick, but he's our dick. You know, like that. He's you. That's why you relate to him.
$1 Million Man back in the day got jealous of Jake the Snake because it was so easy for him to get the reactions that he gets.
Dominic Christopher Varial.
Oh shit! Where's my mask? The shit just comes so easy.
Did you see
Him struggle?
Yeah, did you see the interview about that he did
Yeah.
afterwards? Where he's like, oh, it's like the movie The Mask where he tries to take it off.
There's
And
so much power.
It was just power because it was like
Our forefathers.
all the lucha libre just tried to like. And I said, no, I need to do it myself. And I had to pull it off.
You got the references, right?
Yeah.
There are 2 versions of his grandfathers.
Oh yeah.
Or no, Rey Mysterio Sr.
Yeah,
Junior's the nephew, I think. He's not the actual son.
Right.
He's the inherited.
Right. And he's Eddie Guerrero's kid. Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the Netflix episode of Monday Night Raw where Dominic is at an Ancestry.com website, typing in all the information, and just like, Lo sepa! I knew it! Oh, man. Say his name and he appears in his Mania debut.
Mm-hmm.
Hendry.
Yes.
Initially, was anyone out there disappointed that it wasn't Aleister Black, that it wasn't Rusev, that it wasn't somebody from NXT?
I was not disappointed. I really like Joe Hendry. I marked out at the fact that 1, that it was him, and 2, that's the TNA World Champ. The TNA World Champ is showing up at WrestleMania wrestling a match. Like, holy fuck, this is a really cool time in wrestling right now because of this. We had Jordan Grace, the TNA Women's World Champ, show up at Royal Rumble, and now she's actually signed to WWE. Which, by the way, we kind of blew past her involvement in the 4-way women's match as well. She did a great job too.
Yeah.
That 4-way women's match was, it wasn't 4, it was 6.
It was 4.
It was 4. Yeah, that was a really good match as well. Anyways, yeah. I understand that it's not going to be somebody that's going to beat Orton. I get it. So pop the crowd, give them something fun to do, a cool down, quote unquote, match that still is of significance. Yeah, I was fine with it. I wasn't disappointed that it was Hendry and not one of the other millions of people that it could have been,
I was impressed by the reaction.
That RKO was cinema. You're right, Robert.
Yeah. That reaction warranted everything that Joe Hendry's done to this point.
Jessica, she says, I kind of wish it would have lasted longer. You
Eh,
always say that. Hey.
This segment sponsored by Blue Chew. It was what it was. I was happy with it. Happy for Hendry. Glad that Orton got a match.
Mhm.
I've been so pleasantly surprised with Orton since he's been back that I didn't realize he was out for 2 years with that back injury.
Mhm.
So I was doing the math wasn't mathing. He debuted in 2000.
He
His first
debuted the
Mania-
same year Cena did.
Yeah, I was like, okay, where are all these manias coming from? Because the math isn't mathing. It's not 20th anniversary. Oh, he was fucking gone.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, damn. So yeah, that was fun.
Mhm.
Uh,
I would say after the women's and then the 4-way for the Intercontinental title, I think that's when this night 2 started dropping off for me. This is why I say that I didn't think night 2 was as good as night 1, and if night 2 had the consistency that night 1 had, I would say this is easily top 10 Mania, maybe even debatable whether or not it was a top 5. But night 2 wasn't like that. After the Intercontinental title match, I was okay. Was I happy that it was Joe Hendry? Yes. Was the match great? No. I mean, it was whatever. Yeah, it wasn't even a match, right? So it was a cool segment that had a match in it, but that's it.
Yeah.
The rest of the card, I was not thrilled by.
Not that I wanted to spend too much time about it, but since you mentioned it, something that gives credence to your opinion.
Mhm.
For what I've tried to figure out why I feel this way.
Okay.
I had 0 fucks to give about Logan and AJ. 0 when the match happened.
Yeah.
And something I didn't expect to hear to say today. Logan's sound in the ring. He belongs in the company full time, and that's praise that is bitter for it to come out.
Right. Yes.
You know?
Yes, I agree.
But at the same time, maybe my expectations might have been too high that he was going to bring out an AJ that is long for this world. This is, if you're expecting Ultimate X, AJ, Joe, Daniels in 2025, the year of our Lord.
Yeah.
No.
No.
And if that's what you were thinking, because Logan has that kind of athleticism to possibly pull that out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wasn't feeling it.
I'm not feeling it either. I never feel it when Logan Paul comes out, and I always if
You feel it when he goes in.
they
Call it pride.
Right. They're thick and creamy frying. I forgot what I was gonna say. Logan Paul. I begrudgingly will say that he's a good wrestler. He is. I just don't want him to be a good wrestler. Same way how
You don't want Jake Paul to be a decent boxer.
right, but he is, and I just don't want to. I don't want to validate him as a person that we put on a pedestal because he doesn't deserve it, but he's still good at this one thing. So, okay, cool. But that match with him and AJ, I didn't give a fuck about. And that something might be on AJ. The stuff with Karrion Kross over the weekend.
Yes.
The stuff with Karrion Kross was great. I like that they're doing this work shoot thing with him, and I think it's more work than shoot. I think there was a lot of people thinking that it was more shoot than work.